Meanwhile, a Maryland mother was reunited with her family once again after spending 25 days in ICE custody.
22-year-old Dulce Consuelo Diaz Morales says she was born in the United States, but ICE claims she is a Mexican citizen who entered the country illegally.
News 4's Mauricio Casillas has been following this story from the start, and he had a chance to speak with the mother today. Mauricio, what is she saying now that she's back home?
Well, Jim and Dulce tells me that the hope of reuniting with her family and her faith sustained her during the time that she was detained. That moment when she finally embraced her 5-year-old son was deeply emotional, and the family shared that moment with us. Take a look. This is the moment when Dulce Consuelo Diaz Morales is once again able to embrace her son.
Me sentí muy alegre, muy emocionada. Volver a mirar a mi hijo.
The 22-year-old mother says she was overjoyed, and it was an incredibly emotional moment when she saw her son once again. She says she was detained by ICE agents on December 14th in front of her family near her home in Baltimore.
Y a mí nada más me dijeron, bájate que estás arrestada.
She says ICE agents told her to get out of the car because she was being detained. She says she tried to explain to them that she was born here in Maryland, but she says they didn't believe her. Dulce says she lived in Mexico from the age of 7, but returned to the United States more than a year and a half ago.
Tal vez hubo una confusión.
She says there was some confusion because in Mexico she used her mother's last names, but here in the United States she's listed as having her father and mother's last names. Dulce's legal team says she entered the United States during an emergency without the proper documentation, and they say she was processed by authorities as an immigrant, which placed her in deportation proceedings, something her attorneys say was a mistake.
From the very start of this, we had substantial proof that Dulce was born here, that her first steps were taken on American soil, her first words were spoken in America. And despite all of that, the slowness we've seen from the government, the reluctance to admit that they had made an error.
Zachary Perez is part of Dulce's legal team. He says they submitted her birth certificate and other documentation they say proved she's a U.S. citizen, but that still was not enough to get her released from custody.
In my years now of being an immigration attorney, I have never had to go this far for a case. What we were finally able to get and what we worked on getting was a lengthy affidavit from a medical professional, a doctor, who described why the birth certificate was authentic.
Perez says that analysis of the documents led to an ICE official telling him this week that Dulce would be released from custody, but it doesn't mean that her legal battle is over. Dulce's attorneys say despite her release, she remains under ICE supervision, and they say DHS continues to challenge the claim that Dulce is an American citizen in federal court. Therefore, she still faces the threat of deportation.
Todavía siento nervios. Me siento muy nerviosa.
Dulce says she still feels nervous about the situation, but says she has faith that it'll all work out and hopes what she calls her personal nightmare will be over soon. News 4 reached out to ICE for comment, asking about the conditions of Dulce's release. We have yet to hear back. In a previous statement sent to News 4 back in December, the agency said, quote, Dulce Consuelo Madrigal Diaz is not a U.S. citizen. She's an illegal alien from Mexico. She did not provide a U.S. birth certificate or any evidence in support of her claim that she's a U.S. citizen, end quote.
Pues va a ser un triunfo para mí y va a ser un trago amargo para ellos.
It'll be a win for me, Dulce says, hopeful that she will ultimately win her case, and says it'll be a bitter pill to swallow for ICE. Dulce tells me she has dual citizenship with Mexico, and she is now in the process of obtaining her U.S. passport. She has a check-in appointment with immigration authorities on January 13th, where she says she will be accompanied by her legal team. Jim and Ann?
All right, Mauricio, thank you.